In the last session, as you remember, we discussed the concept of culture, its various aspects, its meanings, its roots. So, after having developed an understanding of culture, let us today try to understand political culture. So, our today's discussion is based on a chapter which is co-authored by Lucian Pai and Sydney Verba. Basically, it is an introduction to their edited book. The title of the book is Political Culture and Political Development. So it is an influential book, historical book, very important book. So it is chapter one. I hope I have shared the slides with you or not.
Not slides.
Should,
The text was shared.
should I share? If you like, I can share the slides. On your book. If anyone's internet is working, you can also join me on YouTube. But I am also sharing the slides on your WhatsApp group. Your WhatsApp group is political culture, is it?
So
Political culture. Yes, it will be helpful if you have the slides in front of you. I think it will be helpful. Yes, yes, it is. I'm just
it is on the way.
on the way. Like Furkan.
So
Yes, you can check it now. I think it is delivered.
not yet, sir.
Hmm? Got it? I wish there is a screen, big screen for you. But our university has limited resources. It cannot, we don't have it.
Might be political will to
Yes, it is the
Yes.
political will of our faculty.
yes.
Okay, did you get?
Yes, sir, I have not, but just take few minutes. You can start, sir, please. No issue. No
Okay.
issue, yes, we can.
Okay, fine. So I share the slides. Your net is not working. So how will Iram get the slides?
I can give this.
Hmm?
Yeah, I've got it.
No, no. Okay, no, Iram, you got slides? You don't want? You हाँ? नेट नहीं चलेगा. Okay.
अभी तो स्लाइड से यही से देखना है, लैपटॉप से नजर आता है सर, इस लैपटॉप पे आ रही है सर.
तो थोड़ा आगे आ जाए.
जी सर, मैं-
थोड़ा थोड़ा आगे आ जाए. आप इस तरफ कर लेना. हाँ. Okay. जी. So, an introduction to political culture. So, Lucian Pai and Sydney Verba start with the discussion with saying that politics is hard to classify and politics is hard to fit into one category. It shows both the greatness and the small weaknesses of human nature. So, politics are varied, they are not same because human nature, it has
Lot of variety.
weaknesses, it has greatness as well, human nature. So, politics is driven by many mixed feelings and thoughts. And these feelings and thoughts include pride, honor, loyalty, hate, aggression, duty, conscience, personal gain, self interest, and the need for safety. But it is not an exhaustive list. There can be other things.
Yes.
but at least they are included. Sometimes politics is full of dreams and hope. Other times it comes from fear and despair. It is difficult to describe something that includes so much of human life. In fact, they are talking about politics. It is difficult to describe politics that includes so much of human life. At one moment, politics can feel deep and inspiring, like poetry. At another, it can seem ordinary and shallow. So, at one moment, politics can feel deep and inspiring like poetry. At another moment, it can seem ordinary and shallow. The boundaries of politics keep changing and are never clear. The boundaries of politics are never clear. Politics is more than just what politicians say and what politicians do. It is more than that. Yet sometimes it looks like nothing more than the games of small, power hungry people.
Most of the time.
But they say sometimes,
Yes,
in our case, it is most
yeah,
of the
it's most of the
times.
time.
At times, the spirit of a country seems greater than all its people and institutions combined. But politics still happens through the actions of certain individuals. Politics happens through the actions of certain individuals. A few powerful ones can easily overshadow the rest. Some people say politics is everywhere, in clubs, in offices, in schools, in churches, and at homes. Politics is everywhere.
Everywhere.
But politics becomes truly important when it takes place in the state, shaping laws and national decisions. So it is the highest level of politics at the national level.
And the most desired level as well, because at that level, this
Yes.
is the actual outcome of politics. It should be like that.
Maybe yes. It is one perspective. It is one of the perspectives. There can be some opposing perspectives
Yes,
too.
sure, sure.
Yes.
Because
So yes.
the main input in the politics uh, targets or aims at the that outcome which we need that in the shape of constitution or law or the bindings and the cultural development.
Yes. Yes.
That is generally the aim of politics is.
Yes, actually, this superstructure, the national institution, they reflect the overall nature, overall bent of mind of the nation.
Yes.
So, in that way, yes, your perspective is important. So, even within nations, each country creates its own special political style or order. A skilled politician may succeed in his own country, but feel lost in another. It is hard to describe or compare politics because every nation has its own way of doing things. Politics grow deeply from the spirit and traditions of each country. Politics grows deeply from traditions of each country. These unique traditions stay strong even when social and economic changes try to make all nations more alike. There are different types of governments like monarchies, republics, and dictatorships. But these types do not always decide how politics actually works. We need another way to classify politics, but finding it is very hard. Because of this, most thinkers and scholars have stopped trying to classify because it is a gigantic
Complicated,
task,
yes.
it's very complicated. Some try to explain politics using big general ideas like state, sovereignty, power, and political man. They act as if these ideas mean the same thing everywhere and at all times. I think I should increase the brightness of my screen. Yes. So they act as if these ideas mean the same thing everywhere and at all times. Others have stopped looking for universal rules of politics. So it is difficult to have universal rules of politics. They now focus on studying politics in specific times and places instead. So some of the political scientists they feel it is not useful. It is not fruitful if we try to have to study politics at the global level. Rather, we should focus on certain
Small
areas,
areas,
small
yes.
areas, and in different time periods. That is a better way to understand
Correct.
politics. In the past, only a few scholars cared about classifying politics. In fact, when we try to understand political culture, so it simply means there may be one political culture in this in the whole of this world, and there may be many political cultures. Okay, so we cannot decide it, but at least so far, as we have discussed, we can say that there is no single political culture at the global level. So when we want to understand the political culture, we need to basically first and foremost understand how many varieties of politics there are so that we understand the varieties of political culture. Only then we can understand the varieties of political culture. If we want to understand the various dimensions and aspects of political culture, it simply means we are trying to understand various dimensions and aspects of politics itself. So that is why Lucian Pai and Sydney Verba they have started the discussion with politics itself. So in the past, only a few scholars cared about classifying politics.
This study is of which time frame?
It was published, I think, in 1999, somewhere about it. I think I have shared it, the book. I have shared with
Yes, which
your
paper is shared?
uh,
Which paper is there?
this chapter. I can share the full, complete book with you. I have. I have. If you remind me, I will share the complete book
I was
if
just
I have not.
analyzing that they are thinking on different political cultures
Yes.
in 1999, but they are trying to impose the same political culture on the whole world since 1948.
Their government.
Yes.
But there's a difference between scholars and the governments.
Yes.
Okay, sometimes the American scholars and even other countries they have harshly criticized their foreign policies. As you know, there's Noam Chomsky, a famous
Yes.
American scholar. He frequently criticizes American foreign policy. He does not agree with it. So similarly, many American political scientists may not agree with their governments what they are doing. So I think they are talking from a scholarly perspective.
Yes. Objectives are different. Objectives are different
Yes.
of the government and the academia.
Yes, yes. Most of the American academicians they are quite liberal and quite open-minded, and they pay attention to the needs, demands of foreign nations as well. as opposed to their governments. Okay, they say, but today it has become a major issue in public affairs and international relations. Many new independent states have appeared in the world. This has raised difficult questions about how politics differs in each country. People now ask what political development really means. So, if we talk about developing the political culture, it is essentially also about political development. So, it is also one of the aspects of political culture, political development, or at least there must be a strong connection between the two, political culture and political development. That is why they have titled the book as Political Culture and Political Development. They also ask what makes politics modern. Some wonder if politics can be divided, like economics, into developed and underdeveloped. Can there be developed politics and underdeveloped politics? Others ask if certain political systems help or block social and economic progress. There is also debate between old traditions and modern values. People ask how this struggle affects political stability and order. The biggest question is whether political change can be guided or made faster. It is the most important question in their view. Whether political change can be guided or whether political change can be made faster. Leaders of new states want to know how traditional societies can become democratic. These are the questions that trouble the new leaders as they dream of building better political systems. These are also the questions that must be answered by those who wish to help these new states achieve their goals. So, at that time, particularly at the end of the Cold War, many new states emerged. And even after that, many new states have emerged. So, the authors are talking in that context. These are also the kinds of questions that students often ignore. The term students here it is used in a very loose sense. In fact, all political scientists can be considered as students of political science.
The body who is working on the subject
Yes,
is student of that.
yes. In fact, any researcher or scholar or scientist is trying to understand his or her subject further. So when we are trying to understand it further, we are students.
जैसे बैरिस्टर के इंतजाज भी बैठे होते हैं वो कह रहे हैं कि लॉ के एक स्टूडेंट के तौर पे मेरा ये ख्याल है
Yes, in that sense. So secondly, it looks very odd if someone claims as a scholar of my subject, so it looks
Especially
bad. Yes. So seeing oneself a student, it
Yes.
feels better.
there is an
Yeah.
opening for more learning.
Yes, exactly. So this happens because classifying politics is very difficult, and classifying politics is very confusing. As a result, scholars now face a serious problem. They do not have enough knowledge to answer important questions. For example, they cannot clearly explain how democratic values and modern political systems can work well in new countries. The world of scholars is not as separate from real life as many people think. The world of scholars is not as separate from real life as many people think. This has made scholars realize something uncomfortable. They know very little about how political systems grow and change. They also know very little about what political differences truly mean. This realization has shaken their confidence, and this realization has also shaken their sense of security. Because national and international problems influence academic interests, this issue needs attention. So it is fair to spend a little time talking about developments in comparative politics. So comparative politics, in fact, when we compare various political cultures, essentially we are comparing political systems, various polities. So it comes comparative politics. This subject is not just about the personal interests of professional scholars, comparative politics. It plays an important role in studying and comparing different kinds of political systems. The main aim of comparative politics is to understand and classify various types of politics. By doing this, we can find better answers to the questions about political development. Until recently, students of comparative politics focused more on studying foreign governments than on comparing them. Until recently, in the last century, most experts specialized in specific countries or regions, area studies.
Yes.
As research standards improved, scholars became even more specialized, especially an expert on the Middle East, an expert on the North Africa, an expert on Central Asia, like this.
So,
It became difficult for anyone to be well informed about all countries at once. It is difficult. No one can be an expert on all countries.
yes.
Because of this, comparative politics became divided into many smaller parts. Different areas and even individual countries developed their own study methods and special focuses. These studies almost turned into separate branches within the field of comparative politics. There are no agreed rules on what to compare in all political systems. No agreed rules. The scholars have their own approaches, their own methods. Because of this, scholars focus on different things for different countries. Comparative politics has developed many separate traditions. When studying European systems, the focus is often on legal structures and formal ideologies. Studies of Britain, France, Germany, and Russia highlight different themes and questions. Each uses different kinds of information and methods. Even research on new countries follows many different approaches. Studies of the Far East focus mainly on history. They look at the role of old religions and great civilizations: Hindu civilization, Buddha civilization, Muslim civilization, Christian civilization, Sikh civilization, like that. They also study the rise of formal schools of thought. African studies follow the anthropological approach, anthropology. South and Southeast Asian studies focus on political movements and nationalism. When not studying current issues, they often examine colonialism. In Pakistan, many scholars they are obsessed by colonialism.
Yeah, already to get out of that.
Yeah. Yes, most of the time they keep repeating colonialism. So sometimes I think we need to get out of
Yes.
colonial past, and we should feel the present and look into the future. These different traditions have added depth and richness to comparative politics. The scholarship and knowledge from them are valuable and deserve appreciation. To make comparative analysis stronger, we need methods that use the richness of different traditions. A good theorist values detailed case studies. Case study, as you know, it is a famous method. Likewise, a comparative politics student should learn from area studies traditions. We need ideas and methods that understand both the common and the unique sides of societies and people. Questions about differences in political attitudes can only be answered by combining psychology and sociology. We must ask, Do similar histories create similar political feelings? So, in the last class, you asked about the overlapping and help from other social sciences. So, here's an answer for you as well, for
Psychology
your
and
question.
sociology.
Yes. So, these areas are interlinked, interrelated, interconnected, and overlapping.
Overlapping as well.
So, rather, it is helpful. It is good if we also look into other subjects as well and other disciplines. How do old cultural traditions shape people's ability to take part in modern politics? It is another question. How do people's changing attitudes affect community politics? These are various questions. How do national needs shape people's political feelings? To compare political systems well, we must study how people form, how people keep, and how people change their political behavior. We must also study how stable or unstable their shared attitudes and feelings are. Focusing on culture can help us compare and classify political systems. This approach helps us understand political development and political change. It uses the strengths of country and area studies while looking at universal human problems. Political culture means the attitudes, feelings, and knowledge that guide political behavior are not random. That guide this the attitudes, political attitudes, feelings, and knowledge. They inform us. They let us know that political behavior are not random. There may be some patterns.
So,
These elements form patterns that fit together and support each other. Even with many possible differences, each community has a distinct political culture. Political culture gives meaning, order, and predictability to politics. Predictability to politics. Each person learns the politics of their community in their own historical context. Political culture is limited but structured by basic psychological factors. Basic psychological factors, they limit the political culture and they shape the political culture. Each generation learns politics from the previous one. So it is also a legacy, it is a tradition. Each generation also reacts and finds its own politics, but the new generation also adds something
Gen Z and
or
Gen
removes
Alpha.
something.
Gen Z
Yes,
and Gen Alpha.
it also changes it. Yes,
In KPK, we are moving towards Gen Zs.
yes. This process follows the laws of individual development and the culture of society. The idea of political culture in this book comes from Gabriel Armand. He said every political system is part of a pattern of how people relate to politics. Gabriel Armand, he also is also a big name, great political scientist. And Gabriel Armand and Sidney Verba, they have also co-authored many books and many great works in political science. This means every political system has an organized way of thinking about politics. Political culture gives meaning to the state, order to institutions, and relevance to individual actions. Political culture, I'm repeating, political culture gives meaning to the state. Political culture gives order to institutions. Political culture gives relevance to individual actions. Traditions, public institutions, citizen passions, and leader styles are not random. Are not random. They may have some pattern. They fit together as a meaningful whole. Political culture is like a web of relationships that makes sense. There is a web approach as well in peace studies. Web approach. And I have published a paper on the peace negotiations between the Afghan Taliban and the United States, and I have explained it with the light of the web approach. So, political culture is like a web of relationships that makes sense.
Sometimes it doesn't make sense. Sometimes it is highly nonsense. Especially in Pakistan.
You know, web. Uh, there is a branch of science. It is called archaeology.
Archaeology.
Archaeology. Archaeologists, they study spiders
Spiders.
and their webs.
Nice.
Okay, it is their discipline. So in very detail, they explain how webs are formed, how is their structure, and how scientific it is, and how different dots are connected, and how a spider chooses the location where the spider will construct its web, and how does it start, how does it end, and like that. So many, and then they learn and derive many lessons from the strategy. In fact, a strategy is involved in making a web. The spider is a strategist.
Yes.
So because the spider is constructing a web to kill the victim, to
Actually, to earn his own, you can say,
livelihood,
bread and butter, yes,
bread and
livelihood,
butter,
yes.
food, finds food.
So this is another way of looking at
Yes.
his intentions,
Yes.
spider's intentions.
Yes. So a spider cannot build a web anywhere. In fact, it has to be at least three-dimensional place.
So,
You know,
Yes.
on this table,
Corners,
They
like
choose
that.
corners.
on this table, on a smooth surface, a web cannot be constructed. So it has to be three-dimensional space.
Some hollow
Only
spaces
then
and
a spider
corners.
can
Make a
construct it. Yes. So political culture is like a web of relationships and that makes sense. For individuals, it guides effective political behavior. For the society, political culture provides a structure of values and structure for reasoning. This ensures institutions and organizations work coherently. Political culture ensures institutions and organizations work coherently.
with that values, the values which we
Yes,
the critical culture gives.
yes. Political culture includes both political ideals and the rules for how a system operates. As Sydney Verba says, it is the system of beliefs, symbols, and values that defines political action. So this system, it defines the political action. Political culture comes from both the shared history of a political system and the personal histories of the people in it. It is rooted in public events and it is rooted in private experiences. Political culture. The theory of political culture was created to connect two levels of study in political science. One level studies the individual's political behavior, and this level uses psychology. The other level studies society wide political patterns, and this level uses sociology. So, sociology deals with society, psychology deals with individuals. Political culture tries to combine psychology and sociology for dynamic political analysis. There is a branch of political science that is called political psychology. And I think there must also be political sociology. It uses modern findings from depth psychology and new sociological techniques for measuring public attitudes. In political science, the theory applies behavioral analysis to classic concepts. These include political ideology, legitimacy, sovereignty. These are the classic concepts in political science. Political ideology, legitimacy, sovereignty, nationhood, and the rule of law. Political culture is a recent term in political science. It aims to make cleaner, clearer and more systematic ideas linked to older concepts. These older concepts include political ideology, national spirit, political psychology, and a people's fundamental values. A nation's fundamental values. Political culture includes the political attitudes of leaders and political attitudes of citizens. It is more inclusive than terms like political style or operational code, which focus only on leaders. So it is a broader term. Political culture is a broader term than the term of political style or than the term of operational code. At the same time, political culture is more explicitly political. Therefore, it is more limited than broader concepts like public opinion or national character. We have just said that the term political culture is broader than the terms of political style or operational code. And but the term political culture is limited than the term public opinion or national character. These two terms are broader than the term of political culture.
So the every political public opinion cannot be taken as a political culture.
Yes, it is broader.
Yes.
It is a broader thing, public opinion, than the political culture. Not all political attitudes and feelings are, it is 134.
Yes, sir, we are on 134.
Not all political attitudes and feelings of a people shape their political culture. Many are too short lived or weak to affect fundamental development. Some beliefs that seem non political can be very important. Some beliefs that seem non political, they can even be very important for political culture. Examples include trust in others. Trust in others. It may sound like non political, but it has strong connections, strong consequences for politics. Views on time and ideas about progress. So, trust. Trust, in fact, it is a basic factor in all fundamental aspects of life. Trust. A businessman cannot be a good businessman if his customers or her customers don't trust him or her. Is it? Do you agree? Similarly, a family member, if other family members trust him or her, he or she is good and helpful for the family and for himself or herself. But if a family member is not trusted by others, there's a problem. It will hamper the development and growth of that family. So similarly, there has to be a trust between teachers and students, among the teachers and students, and among the boss and the subordinates. And uh, I was once I was an administrator. I headed this department. So I never kept any file away from the clerks. I never had any file which I wanted the clerks not to see it. I always trusted them. They might have misused it and they might have got an undue benefit. But I thought, being an administrator, being the HOD, I must trust them. So, but I have seen some of the heads of the department, some chairpersons, who do not share all files with the clerks. So, I think it is a matter of trust. So I'm not saying they are all wrong. They may be right. Maybe I was wrong. I'm not saying this.
In the filing system, there is a classification system of files.
Yes.
There are different classifications.
Yes.
Restricted, secret, top secret, confidential.
Exactly.
There are certain levels of classification. So
Yes.
here in university, there might be some less confidential files, more restricted files, or more open files.
Mhm.
That's why an administrator can trust.
True, true. It's
all
true.
the clerks.
It's true. I was just giving an example, just to highlight that different people have different levels of trust. Sometimes it may be harmful for us if we trust a wrong person. So before trusting someone, we need to know if the person has to be trusted or not. But as a whole, in our society, I feel there's a lack of trust.
There is trust deficit, yes.
There's a trust deficit, even among the family members, even among the married couples.
It is growing day by day.
Maybe,
Yes, sir.
maybe I think there has to be a scientific study on it.
Yes, sir.
Maybe in some ways it might be improving as well, and in some other ways it might be degenerating. So the advanced societies which we admire, they trust each other. Their trust level is better than ours. And they also trust the leaders better than we do. Our trust level of our leaders is almost zero. We always
past experiences की वजह से ही है।
maybe
Proper,
और क्या
the trust comes out of the test. If somebody has been tested untrustworthy, non-trustworthy, then
Yes.
the trust will not be there.
yes,
So a person to be trusted has to pass the test of trust. So if our test of trust fails, so we will not trust someone.
वो एक
Yes.
जोक भी है ना यहाँ पे बाहर की ममालिक में कोई हादसा हो जाता है तो कहते हैं कि पुलिस को इन्फॉर्म करें तो यहाँ पे कहते हैं जल्दी खत्म करें पुलिस ना आ जाए
वो सर मुझे लगता है पाकिस्तान का कल्चर ही ऐसा रहा है ना। अब देखिए कोई ट्रीटी होता है, कोई एग्रीमेंट होता है, ये भी रेयर अर्थ मिनरल्स के लिए चाइना है, अमेरिका में, अब वो जब ट्रीटी होने लगता है तो पाकिस्तानी लगे होते हैं उन्होंने बेच के खाते हैं।
बिल्कुल
yes.
तो ये इसलिए ट्रस्ट बिल्डिंग हो रहा है क्योंकि पास्ट एक्सपीरियंसेस ऐसे हैं। रेकॉर्ड का इशू था पहले।
Okay. I will discuss it in little in detail little later. So let us first focus on our topic. So there may be other factors as well. Your point is right. Your point is right. But there may be other factors.
Yes, number of them.
Yes. So examples include trust in others, views on time, and ideas about progress. These are the things which may seem non-political, but they may influence the political culture. Political culture consists of widely shared beliefs and feelings. Widely shared beliefs, political beliefs, and widely shared feelings, political feelings. These form patterns that give order and shape to politics. So let us also understand beliefs are not only religious beliefs, beliefs are of many types. There are social beliefs. There, for example, some people say in Pakistan, कहते हैं ना जी यहाँ पाकिस्तान में रिश्वत और साजिश के बगैर कुछ नहीं हो सकता. ये हमारा बिलीफ है. It is our social belief.
Yes, sir.
ठीक है ना? Whether it is right or wrong, that is separate thing. I'm not going into that detail.
Yes.
But it is believed without bribery and without political connections, you cannot get the job done. So it is a social belief in Pakistan. Most of the Pakistanis believe it. So one may disagree with it, but it is a social belief. There are political beliefs as well. Some people say a bloody revolution is needed in Pakistan. So it is their political belief. Some people say we need dictators. It is a political belief. Some others may say, no, we need democracy. It is also a political belief. So there are economics beliefs as well. People have different beliefs how business flourishes and how a business is destroyed. There may be different beliefs about it. How can one become a rich person? So when we in social sciences and political sciences, when we talk about beliefs, they are not essentially religious. There are scientific beliefs as well. So these form patterns that give order and shape to politics. In short, political culture gives structure and meaning to politics. Umar, are you there? Are you with us? If you need tea, we can arrange. Okay, fine. So just as culture gives coherence to social life, political culture does the same for the political world. Just as culture gives coherence to social life, political culture does the same for the political world. Political culture is like culture in general. It touches on many parts of human understanding. So our beliefs and our understanding is also part of our culture. And our political beliefs and political understanding, it is also part of our political culture. It deals with human awareness. It also deals with human sensitivity. A large part of political culture comes from training citizens. Training citizens. So, since thousands of years, the political philosophers have been saying that if you want to have a good political system, you need to have good citizens. And in order to have good citizens, you need to have a good education system. Educate the citizens so that they become good citizens. And if your citizens are good, you have a good political system, good society, good governance. A large part of
ये सारी ये जो बात कर रहे हैं ट्रेनिंग सिटीजन ये पॉलिटिकल सोशलाइजेशन पॉलिटिकल ट्रेनिंग की बात हो रही है पॉलिटिकल अवेयरनेस जिसे कहते हैं
yes. And it is done through, obviously it's done through politics, through education. It is done through education.
ये पॉलिटिकल लीडर्स सिखाएंगे या फिर नॉर्मल एजुकेशन सिस्टम भी लेकर आ रहा है
In fact, we as a wise nation, we need to utilize all the resources available. Yes. So yes, it is also a duty of the leaders, the political parties, the NGOs, the civil society organizations, CSOs, and human rights activists like that. But basically, the education system has to do its part.
Take the lead.
Yes, in our I think books and our curriculum, we need to have lessons on the civic spirit, the civic sense. We need to build that sense of ownership among the citizens so that people own the public places, the public utilities. Usually, in our society, I have observed people do not own the parks, they do not own the road. That is why they damage them and they pollute them because they're public, they are not their personal. So, in advanced societies, people have developed a sense of ownership. They believe the park, the road, the hospital, the school, it is theirs. It belongs to them. So they take care of those things.
These values had been part of our curriculums when we were younger.
Yes.
And that was there in schools and colleges. And we sort of, these values were very much present in the curriculum and the discussions.
But they're not very effective. I know. I don't know why.
It has gone deteriorated with the passage of time.
Okay, fine. So as a nation, we need to pay attention to this issue. This is a serious issue, I think. So a large part of political culture comes from training citizens. This is called explicit citizenship training. It also comes from learning about the political system. This learning is done with conscious effort.
Yes.
Therefore, political culture is mostly shaped by rational understanding. Political culture is mostly shaped by rational understanding. A few days back, there was an MPhil class in this office. So when the class left, I saw someone had some drink, and they left the remainings over here.
I was like 5 minutes.
So the empty plastic glass and it's covered. They were lying here on the floor. So, our MPhil students, just imagine. So I think our education system is not delivering. It is not making us good citizens, or it is not sensitizing us with reference to civic spirit or civic sense. So
there is a fine or some penalties in the civilized cultures on such things. They are not good from their inner selves. They have fear. They have some sort of the cautions.
yes, we have two types of nations where huge fines are imposed. One type is of authoritarian states where huge fines are, so they have the only way to discipline the citizens, that is fine and punishment. But in the advanced society, the difference between those authoritarian states and advanced states is majority of the citizens, they are good citizens. They willingly abide by the law.
Like Japanese.
Yes, Norwegians, Sweden, Swiss, and Swedish, and Finnish, and yes, German, maybe French, maybe Australians, Canadians. Yes, as I do know, most of the citizens, they are law-abiding citizens, and they don't pollute their environment. Law-abiding, and they have a good civic sense, civic spirit. They don't damage their public properties.
If they damage, what will happen then?
I think they will be
Punished.
But what I'm trying to say is there is a basic difference between the level of ownership, the understanding of between the citizens of an authoritarian regime and the citizens of a democratic regime, of advanced nation. So their awareness level is better. Their sense of ownership with the state and law is better. So they own it and they don't try to damage it. And you will find very few of them, they will harm the environment or they will damage the public property. But just imagine in an authoritarian country where huge fines and punishments are meted out to the citizens. Just imagine for 24 hours there's no government and no police. What will happen then? So this is the basic difference between the quality of citizens under authoritarian regimes and under free regimes. So political culture is mostly shaped by rational understanding. It is also shaped by clear, articulated concepts. Clear, articulated concepts. However, a political culture has deep emotional parts. Yes, well, are you with me? I think you feel sleepy.
He's focusing, sir.
Okay, so when I feel you are sleepy, so my attention is diverted, so I can't focus. So better you keep operating it. It will ensure that you are there, you are with us. Okay, a political culture has deep emotional parts. A political culture has deep emotional parts. These emotional parts are very important. They involve the powerful feelings of loyalty. They involve the strong passions of community identity. The culture includes sentiments of attachment to other people. It includes feelings. Yes, Furqan, come on, you are welcome. Yes. Finally, Furqan has joined us. So, Furqan, how was your journey? It was safe and sound?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, shall we continue?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, culture includes feelings of attachment to a specific geographical place. Political culture brings together emotions, logic, and ethical values. It mixes these three things. Political culture mixes emotions, logic, and ethical values. In doing this, political culture gives people certain expectations. These expectations are about the realities of politics. Realities of politics. It also instills shared ideals in the people. Political culture injects shared ideals in the people. These ideals show what their public life could be like. It is a powerful force that shapes how a nation acts. Concern with political culture is a major step forward. It is a significant development in current political analysis.
In the previous statement, which says that
Concern,
it is a powerful force that shapes how a nation acts.
yes, political culture, yes.
It can be a cyclic approach because it can be vice versa. How nation acts, that can be a political culture. That can be a cyclic.
Yes, argument. Yes, yes, it may be. It may be. It is a powerful force that shapes how a nation acts.
How a nation acts, it can be a political culture.
Yes, as in simple words, there's a debate. It is debatable whether political culture influences the nation or the nation influences the political culture. So there are many debates like this. Politics determines economics, or economics determines politics.
अंडे और मुर्गी वाला
chicken and egg argument, maybe. But sometimes it is both ways. It is both ways.
Yes.
So, for example, in many ways, politics shapes economics, and in some other ways, economics shapes politics. Similarly, we as citizens and individuals and political actors, we are influenced by our political culture, but at the same time, we also influence our political culture. As we just said, the authors discussed that there are political traditions. Political culture is influenced by traditions, and but the new generations, they also change those traditions. They add to the culture as well. So sometimes it is the both ways. So it may not be essentially the chicken and egg dilemma question. Concern with political culture is a major step forward. It is a significant development in current political analysis. It signals a return to studying the entire political system. This return is achieved without losing the knowledge of individual psychology. In recent years, political science has changed. It has tried to use relevant ideas from all social science fields. Because of this, the focus has often been on the behavior of one person. So, individual and individualism, they are becoming more important with the passage of time. Political scientists wanted to use new discoveries from psychology. There is a book, very good book, on the history of individualism. I studied it, I think, 1 or 2 years back. It's a very good book, The History of Individualism. If you remind me later, I will share it with you. I have a soft copy. Political scientists wanted to use new discoveries from psychology. The discoveries and insights from psychology are revolutionary. The unit of political analysis became the single act. It also became the single decision made by a person, unit of analysis. The main people studied were individual decision makers. This includes the leader, this includes the voter, it includes the person who simply holds an opinion. However, there was a risk in this process. Political scientists were finding the human basis of public actions. But they risked losing sight of another important truth. The political community is a dynamic collective entity. The political community is a dynamic collective entity. This collective entity is equally important to study. So we cannot understand politics or political culture by only focusing on individual. This is the argument. There was a clear need to find a new method This method had to work back from individual psychology. It had to reach the level of the social aggregate. Social aggregate is community and society. The social aggregate is the whole group of people. This aggregate is the traditional focus of political science. The problem of aggregation is a great challenge now. Aggregation means adding up the discoveries about individual psychology. This is done in a way that makes the community understandable. Community wide behavior should be clear in light of individual actions. The concept of political culture offers great promise for solving this challenge. We can study national development through political cultures. We can focus on the political culture of each country. This makes it possible to bring two approaches together. These are macro analysis and micro analysis. There are two types of economics as well.
It's a microeconomics, macroeconomics.
Yes. So microeconomics focuses on the individual levels, local levels, and macro level of economics focuses at the national and international level, higher levels. So similarly, macro analysis, it focuses on the
Community,
yes,
the whole system.
the greater things, the bigger things, and micro analysis at the individual level or local level. Macro analysis is the study of the total political system. It looks at the system's behavior. It looks at the system's dynamics. Macro analysis. It is the study of the individuals in the system. Micro analysis. Micro analysis is the study of the individuals in the system. It looks at the people who create the system. When we explore where a political culture comes from, we need both. For example, we must study the history of the whole system. We must also study the life experiences of the people today, individuals. So both analysis, both levels of analysis are required, microanalysis and macroanalysis. These people currently carry the culture. The historical approach helps us trace the evolution of institutions. It is the historical approach. It shows the evolution of value patterns. These patterns gave the contemporary political culture its substance. We can also look at political socialization patterns. Political socialization patterns. Socialization is how people are introduced into the culture. This allows us to see how institutions affect individual lives. Socialization, political socialization. This connection between private socialization and public operations is vital. It provides much of the force for continuity and change. This force exists in all political systems. The concept of political culture is useful for examining links. It examines the links between social factors and political results. It also examines the links between economic factors and political results. The socialization process supports and shapes the political culture. This process happens in every generation. I think it was a repetition in the last between economic factors and political results, and between social factors and political results. Okay. Yes. 213. This process happens in every generation. Through this process, we can see many impacts. We can observe the impact of explicitly political factors. We can also observe the impact of non-political dimensions of life. The impact of non-political dimensions of life. All these dimensions condition political behavior. They also determine political behavior. They condition and determine, in fact, the political behavior. When we investigate the social and economic setting of the culture, we learn a lot. We can better understand historically important issues. These issues relate to economic development. They relate to the chance for stable political change. So remind me when it is 4 o'clock. I don't know what time is it.
Should be past 4, probably, I think. No, still 11 minutes to go.
Okay, so by 4, let me know so that you get ready for the next class. So I think you also need a break, 10 minutes break. So by 4, we will wind it up. So they relate to the chance for stable political change. This framework helps us see the full picture of a nation's life. Analyzing political behavior needs a balanced view. Political culture helps present this balanced view. It weighs the importance of rational choice. Rational choice. It weighs the importance of consciously learned values. It also weighs the importance of latent determinants. Latent determinants, which may not be very apparent, but they may be for the time being hidden.
Hidden, sort of.
Yes. Latent determinants are non rational parts of human behavior. The political socialization process is ongoing. It involves deep attitudes instilled in early childhood. It involves deep attitudes instilled in early childhood. These attitudes come from family life. It also involves later experiences. These include formal instruction in politics at schools, later experiences. And later experiences include exposure to mass media messages. Later experiences include contacts with other socializing agents. In the past, the concept of national character was often used. National character. This concept often became a leftover category. It was used to explain differences that objective analysis missed. This concept tended to lean too heavily toward the unconscious mind, national character. National character almost entirely ignored the place of reason in human affairs. Political socialization requires both the early stages and the later stages of life. Political socialization. Political socialization involves both personality formation and learning. Therefore, it must equally address two sides of the coin. One side is the explicit and manifest side. The other side is the tacit and latent side. This balance defines the relationship between individual psychology and social order. We can apply political culture analysis to political development. This analysis helps us understand various combinations of values. These values, these value constellations, groups of values, may guide different patterns of national development.
Now we are switching from political culture to political development.
The connection between them.
Yes, now we are gradually switching over
Yes.
to development.
Yes. Because
previously we were studying the political culture.
Political
with
culture.
Different angles of political culture.
Exactly.
Now we are entering into the development.
Yes.
So it's time to have a
Oh, sure. So I think 250. It is 247. Let us stop at 250.
right, sir?
So these value constellations may guide different patterns of national development. These combinations may also cause frustration. They may cause disappointment over national progress. In some societies, the traditional political culture was helpful. So you are a keen observer. so your observation was helpful. So let us stop here, and we will continue it next week. And I hope all of you studied the pages.
3 to 14.
I hope so.
I have studied